Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. I hope you've been enjoying our series. Today, we're moving on to the third episode in the series on, intelligent hybrid and remote work, getting hybrid and remote work that works. Today, we're covering leading from anywhere. I'm Frank Wander, founder of People Productive and Business Edge, and I'm here with Terry Mays, certified culture engineer. So welcome, Tara.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So let's review the series again for the folks. This is episode 3. Next week, we're going to be doing designing the hybrid workday. How do you do that? Set expectations right. And then we'll end with continually measuring, monitoring, and improving this hybrid and remote culture, which is actually very, very important. So lead from anywhere. It all comes down to the fact you got to meet your people's emotional enabling needs. It's no different than them being in the workplace. The tools are different. You got to be conscious of things. But, psychological safety, physical safety, emotional safety, all this stuff, you've got to make them feel safe, right? And we've done many shows on that. We've done shows on safety, which is safe culture, which goes beyond just psychological safety, but you got to have a safe culture. You got to equip them properly. You got to find out if anything is in the way of them getting their job done. That's called enablement. They got to be fully enabled. And maybe we'll bounce back and forth across these, Tara. Why don't you take the next one?
You have to inspire them and make them feel like they're part of something bigger. You can't have a whole lot of busy work. This is what this boils down to. It has to be meaningful work that people feel like it matters if they do it. And you're actually looking for their input. You're looking for their feedback. You want them to be a part of the decision making, the creative piece of this. Whatever the work is, you want to pull people into that creative space and make them feel a part of it, make them feel included. Don't just go off as a leader and make all the decisions and come back and say, this is what we're going to do. Include people in the process and help them feel like they are a part of it and that you actually care about them, their thoughts, their opinions, their feelings, not just, this is what we're going to do. Just go forth and make it happen. But you actually ask them what they think. And it is proven, absolutely proven, that when people feel like you care about them, they feel safe in the environment, they will absolutely bring more of themselves to work.
Oh, no question about it. And, as a leader, they're working on something and it may not be clear how that fits into the big picture. And it's up to the leader to show them that they're working on something very important and contributing to it.
Yes.
And, this is how you inspire people because people want to work on something that's important. They want to have an impact. They want to make a contribution. And you've also got to intentionally build relationships across teams. You've got people who are remote. They don't have a chance to meet. Leaders have to bring people together just for the purpose of building relationships.
Yes.
And one of the ways you could do it is the famous, you please tell us the 3 things that made you who you are today. And you have people share that. And sometimes it gets very personal because people have had very different lives. And it's amazing how people start to connect into these kind of very emotional experiences people have had in their life. And it humanizes them. And then they start to have, deeper relationships, more respect for one another and fun. Work just can't be about work. It's about enjoying work. You've got to make time for people to have fun. And we've done shows on how to have fun in remote work environments. We did a whole series on, the different human factors of leadership and how they fit into this. But you've got to intentionally go try to have fun. No doubt about it.
I had some really great leaders. Many times I've had some great leaders that knew how to have fun and they knew how to intentionally build relationships. One of the funnest things that I've ever done is, so I was on a team. Everybody was spread all over the place between New Jersey, New York, Florida, and Alabama. None of us were in the same location. Even the ones of us that were in Alabama, we're not even in the same location. Wow. So we would get on, back then it was AT&T Connect. That's how long ago it was.
Well, that's going back.
This is way long ago, before Zoom and all of the Microsoft Teams. So we would get on, and our job was to bring a picture of a celebrity that we most look like, right? So none of us at the time had ever seen each other, right? We didn't even know what the other person looked like. So you bring a picture of the celebrity that you favor, and then you bring a picture of yourself. And then the team would say, yes, we agree, or no, we don't agree. We think you look like this person or that person. And you're basing what you think that person looks like on their voice only, right? So
Right. That's true. Back
don't know.
then.
All you've seen is their, heard is their voice. And so it was so much fun. We just laughed. We spent a whole team meeting, no other agenda. That was the whole purpose of it, was for us to build relationship and just
Yep.
laugh, have a good time. So I just have remembered that all these years later, because it really made such a difference in how we interacted with each other,
Yeah.
because we weren't in the same location and we were never going to be in the same location. And so we had a really great manager that went out of her way to bring us together and make us feel like we
Got
were
to do it.
your
You
team.
just have to do it. It's not going to happen organically. Some people may connect organically on their own.
Yeah.
Something they say at a meeting, the other person calls them up and says, "Oh, hey, that was really interesting." It happens, but
Yeah.
you've got to do it intentionally. And a meeting like that, the one you described, has such an enormous payback because it really builds those relationships. And
Yes.
relationships are the circuit over which all the information is shared. And so it's hugely important, hugely important. And if you're
Yes.
a good leader, you've gone out of your way to empower them. You trust
Absolutely.
them. You've got to trust the people until they're proven untrustworthy. And of course, we know in the
Right.
beginning, new workers, it's trust and verify. They've got things they got to get done. You have to check in, make sure they did it. But once they prove they're completely trustworthy, boom. I mean, you got to empower them, let them go. They've got to come back when they need help or go out to teammates, get answers to questions. Really important.
Yeah. You want to challenge them and celebrate things together. So when people feel like they've accomplished something that was a little bit tough, it was a challenge for them, they had to go outside of their comfort zone to complete it, celebrate at the end. Celebrate the small wins, celebrate the big wins, like
Yeah,
literally celebrate everything. Try and find good reasons, catch people doing something good and celebrate it, because it
big
just has
time.
such a huge payoff.
Huge. And, here's a quote from George Penn from Gartner. Success in a hybrid work environment requires employers to move beyond viewing remote or hybrid environment as temporary or short term and treat it as an opportunity. And I think that's such a great quote. It's an opportunity. They've got to take advantage of it. And, they're sitting there, like we talked about in episode 1, bringing people back to the office for all the wrong reasons. And we never said every job should be remote. We're not saying that. There are jobs that probably should be done, back in the office, or there's times you got to bring people together into the office to really meet in person, because in person is different.
Yeah.
It's a different level of connection. Nevertheless, success in a hybrid environment is not temporary. It's an opportunity, and companies have to view it that way. And that's why all this stuff has to be done intentionally.
Yes.
And so let's go to the next slide here. Leadership is still leadership. Hopefully when you're in a work environment, you're not all about the work. People have always been more than their jobs. But
Absolutely.
now in a remote environment, it's very easy for these managers to just do task follow-up and check on things, but to never talk about the person, to never get to know that individual, to never understand the challenges they have in their own life, and maybe the types of flexibility they need or the types of support they need. The people are more than their job, and it's
Yeah.
the more than their job part that matters the most, quite honestly.
Yeah. And they're more than they're more than who you think they are.
That's right.
Quite often you have an opinion of a person and what they can do based on what you've seen them do. But there's a whole line of, like, especially people that have been in the workforce for many, many years.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother life that I've lived
Yeah.
in, different companies as a tester, as a test manager, as a business analyst, as an application architect. Like, there is as a programmer at one point in my life.
Oh,
So
me too.
you really have, this person that you see before you now is a conglomerate of all those different roles that they've had over the years. And so you may limit that person to what you have seen them do, but that's no indication of what they can do. And the only way
Yeah.
you're going to peel back that onion is to get to know them as a person. You have to know that they are more than their job, they're more than what they're currently doing, and build some trust without having to be right next to them. To not have to see them every day in the office, to not have to walk by their desk to confirm that they're actually working. Build trust with people. Let them know that you trust that they're going to do a good job. You have given them the assignment and you're going to hold them accountable to do the work. And if they don't do the work or they give you some reason not to trust them, then you want to do a little more frequent check in. You want to talk. But the big thing is just
Yeah,
trust that people are going to get the job done. Trust that they are going to do the right thing. Don't always assume that people are going to do the wrong thing.
that is absolutely so true. Um, Building that trust is so important, and part of it is, having those open lines of communication so that people know what's happening, that you loop them in, and that they understand that, you know, you are very trustworthy. You're going to keep, they're going to be top of mind. You're going to care for them. That you behave with integrity. You're sincere. You're vulnerable when you have to be. These things really do matter.
They do. They absolutely matter. And you want to empower them and not micromanage them.
Oh, God,
There is
so
nothing
huge.
worse than an experienced employee that you feel the need to micromanage and tell them how to do every single thing and give them a deadline and then double check on them every single day. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? Have you done
Ugh,
it? That is the most annoying way to lead people. If you want things done by a certain time, say that up front. Just tell the person when you actually want things to be done. And if it's a priority, say, if you can get this done quicker, that would be better. But to give them a deadline that's 2 weeks away and ask them every day, are they done? It's just
yeah.
going to annoy the crap out of them.
And by the way, also to say, look, should you need something or if things have changed, you got to let us know immediately so
Yes,
the team can figure out what to do about it.
right. They now know the importance of the task
Yeah.
and the priorities that should be placed on it. And that's all you need to do. At that point, you trust, right, that they're going to do the right thing,
Yep.
that they're going to communicate if there's a problem, but you trust and walk away. And then if they reach out, they have a problem, they need more time, or whatever the case might be, you can talk through that if necessary. But definitely don't micromanage people. It's
Yeah.
really not a healthy way for you or for them because it creates stress and anxiety. And that stress and anxiety is just going to be a breeding ground for mistakes.
Yeah. And you got to trust them. It's trust and verify. And until they approve they're not, until they disprove that they're accountable, they're fully empowered. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this whole notion of belonging for anyone, we did an entire series on how to create a
Mhm.
deep sense of belonging. I think it was 10 episodes. It was a big, big series. How do you create a big sense of belonging? Because there's inclusion, there's belonging, there's acceptance, there's all of these things that go into belonging. But number one, it starts with people caring about one another. The leaders care about the people, the team, you know, co-workers care about one another. We've got leading with empathy. That's all part of caring. Without that, you can't get to a sense of belonging if nobody cares about you. But when there is a sense of belonging, then you really are treated equally. You're treated fairly. We covered some stuff on equality in the last show, like if there is some kind of activity, the remote people come in, they're treated exactly the same as the people who are working in the office. That's equality. But belonging goes into really feeling like you're a part of the fabric of the place,
Yeah,
just as much as anybody else. And you can
that's
do that. You've got to be conscious of the fact these people are remote.
That's right. You want them to feel just as included as anybody else. And then this is a beautiful way to do that by leveraging technology for connection. I
Yep.
have a coworker that lives in California, and so it's rare that we're both in the same place at the same time. But
Hmm.
we will jump on Teams and have a virtual coffee break and
Oh, it's
just
great.
like it's just an easy way. It doesn't cost anything. You take 30 minutes, you chat about what's going on and how's the family, how's
Yep.
everything else going that you haven't had a chance to check up on. And you can do that across the company. You
You
can
can.
do that with people that you see every day and those that are in other locations. But as a leader, you can actually use that and have some virtual one-on-one sessions just to check in with people and see how they're feeling. Do they have that sense of belonging? Do they feel like they've been excluded from any information because they're not in the same proximity? You can use those kind of informal conversations just like you would if you just stopped by the person's desk. You just have to be a little bit more intentional about it, right? So you have
Yeah.
to schedule a Teams meeting for it. So it's not quite as simple as just, oh, go walk by their desk, but do it. It's really an easy way to do it. Leveraging the chat function in Teams. It's a great way to check in on people and see how they're doing. Um,
Yeah, to let them know you care, which gets to
yeah.
number seven, leading with empathy and flexibility. There are a whole set of caring behaviors in a caring culture. So it's just general caring concern, which is, hey, you doing okay? That's the check-in over teams.
Mhm.
Then there's empathy when you see that they're struggling, that you actually care and say, hey, you look like you're struggling. What's going on? And then you can be compassionate, which is to try to actually help them. You're also responsible as running a caring culture for nurturing and growing these people. Even if they're not in the office, you're still responsible for making sure that they're growing, they have access to training if there is training available, and that they have time to kind of work on their own personal development and
Yeah.
to grow. And it's really, really important. And, acts of kindness go a very long way. When somebody's struggling, give them some extra time off. That's what a caring culture is. And that means people are more than their jobs. Really big deal.
Yes. And Frank is the master at this. He is the master at reading your body language. And if he senses that there's something off, he'll reach out and just check
Thank you.
on you.
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely. In a
are
minute.
you okay? How are you feeling? You look like you were a little bit tired, or, whatever the case might be.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? How are you? Just that simple, just stopping everything that's going on.
Yeah.
We're
And you
all in
get
this
the old,
together.
oh, I'm fine. Well, you don't sound it. So tell me what's happening.
Right.
Right.
All of us are in that race of trying to get all the things done. You've
Yeah.
got all the things at work and all the things at home, and in whatever aspect of your life that you lead, you've got more than just one hat that you wear. And so sometimes all those things start to pile up and it spills over from one area to the next, which is why
Yeah.
you have to know that people are people. They're
Mhm.
not just a job. They really are people. And you want them to continuously learn. You want them to be able to adapt. And so you put them in positions where they can learn. You make it possible for them to learn. And there are
Mhm.
lots of technology assisted learning that you can do these days through computer based training. Um, YouTube University is quick.
YouTube University, Google has a whole bunch of free courses.
Yes,
Udemy has courses you could sign up
yes,
for, or they could go in and sign up and get reimbursed as long as they
yes,
get approval. They've got to understand they need to be continuously learning and growing. They've got to be doing this on their own. They got to take responsibility for it, but you got to make it a priority and you got to help them. Even
yes,
if it means giving a little time off to go do stuff, whatever it is, they've got to be growing.
yes.
It matters. And you want to always be clear with people too if you're a leader. So as we could see here, this gentleman is here. When they said this was remote work, I thought I'd be working from home, and you could see it's a remote control factory. But it's a leadership issue, right? Lack of
Yes,
clarity around the role. Uh,
yes. You have to be clear in what people are responsible for.
yeah,
I love this image because so often, you'll get some direction or you may give some direction that you think is very clear, but to the other person, it means something totally
yep,
different. And
yep,
so you really have to make sure that that person understands what you're saying. And you may use the same words. That word TV remote control may mean one thing to somebody, but one thing to somebody, a different thing to somebody
yeah,
else. So you
100%.
just got to make sure you clarify things to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
And so we're here every Wednesday afternoon. We have another show, 3 o'clock. So we're moving into episode 4, designing the hybrid workday. Then we've got 5. Then we've got some interviews coming up. We're going to be bringing some guests on. So we've got a lot of interesting shows. I think we've done a great job on many of these series. So next we move on to designing the hybrid workday. You want to be in an environment where you have hybrid and remote work that works. That's what this all boils down to. It's still leadership. You just have to really be more conscious of everything you're doing. Things that might have happened organically, like we covered in the last show, the hallway, talks, lunchtime walks, all those things are gone, in these environments, but they can all be replaced using remote work. So I hope you could join us. Join us for the next episode, and we appreciate you tuning in and watching this. Thank you.
Yes, bye for now.